Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G here. I am out walking in the streets today. Let's get into this. Why I will not recommend moving for love, even though it is what I did. Guys, subscribe to my channel and let's have a little chat.
It's a game changer for a woman when she is willing to lose anyone, but she's no longer willing to lose herself.
Listen, I am not sure that at this point in life I would recommend a woman move to another chair for a man, let alone another city, state, or country. And I hate to say it, but there's so many reasons that you don't want to do this. And I'm not saying this from a place where, oh, look, my relationship's falling apart. I'm fine. My relationship so far is fine. But I have witnessed enough since moving abroad, and even witnessing friends who just moved to other states for men, how badly women get put in positions when they do this for men. So you don't want to do it. And here's some reasons why. The amount of sacrifice that you make to move abroad, to move to another city for a man, for love. And in general, men never appreciate this. And it becomes an expectation of you to make huge sacrifices for yourself for the rest of your fucking life, even if the relationship goes well. They will always expect that you will give up more than they do. And it's supported in your actions, but also socially, and society makes it this way. It makes it seem like this is what you're supposed to do, that you give up your career, your friends, your family, all for the sake of a man's attention. Guys, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Now, I was already living abroad. I had already been abroad when I met my partner, so there were some differences when I decided to move to Italy, specifically to take a leap of love, right? I was already being abroad. So that's a whole different scenario in some sense. But I did put myself in a more vulnerable position, moving to a country I don't know the language, I didn't know anybody, and my whole dependence was on him. And generally, women find themselves in these situations where they're isolated and they don't have friends, they don't have family, they don't have a support system. And if your partner is shit, you find yourself in more of a situation where you don't know what to do. So there's the sacrifice, there's the vulnerability, there is the lack of support. Men generally do not have the skills that we need them to have to support us in moving to other countries. It doesn't even have to be as dramatic as moving to another country. Moving to another city, another state can put you in a vulnerable position. The amount of sacrifice that you have to do to move somewhere for a man, for another human being, is absolutely unequivocally imbalanced from the start. It puts you at a position where they're always going to expect that you will sacrifice, that you will give up, that you will do whatever it takes to be with them. And they'll take it for granted from the very beginning. You have to give up your friendships, your relationships, your job, potentially your house. Like, whatever you gave up will never equate to anything that they're going to give you. The love doesn't equate, the relationship doesn't equate, and it's always expected for women to do this. So they don't appreciate the amount of sacrifices that you have to make. In fact, you know, it's funny because my partner and I have talked about, like, where would we move if we wanted to leave Italy. And when we talked about it, he actually started talking about how much of a culture shock he would go through moving to certain places. And I just stared because I was just like, what do you think I have been doing these past few years? They don't know, they don't get it, because like that male patriarchy is really so inbred. The other reason you do not want to move for a man, you're isolated. And this is one of the things that when you get into a relationship and it starts to turn sour, or it's just not even the place that you want to be, the city, whatever the case may be, something cute in the window, you're vulnerable. You're extremely vulnerable. Now, adding a whole nother country onto that, like, so many women here find themselves in situations where, and not just here in Italy, but in countries with foreign men and their families, and they don't have the money and the resources to go back to their country. They have children with these men, and they can't leave the country with their children without that man's permission. This puts you in a position where you're controlled. Even if you have a relationship where, you know, you think is amicable, you separate. I know some women who are married to their partners and they're foreign, and their partners will not give them permission to take the children back to their countries just for a visit. The court systems generally are more in favor of the countrymen, if you will. This idea that a lot of Americans have that court systems favor women is actually a lie, even in the United States. The only difference is men generally don't show up. They don't fight the good fight for their kids or whatever the case may be. And they feel like they're victims because ultimately they expect everything to go in their favor. When you're in a whole nother country, the favor goes to the person from that place far more than it does the other person. On top of the fact that a lot of times you're not going to be able to make the money that you can make in your home country because of whatever the systems are, and being a foreigner. If I wanted to look for a job here, I mean, the average salary here is already really low, and it becomes even worse when you're a foreigner. The reward very rarely outweighs the amount of risk and vulnerability that women put themselves in when they decide to move for men. And guess what? Conversely, you don't want that man to move to your country for you either. And that's probably a whole nother video. We paint these really idealistic pictures and ideas about these things. You move for love. It's just like, and everything works out because of the sacrifice, and that is so untrue. More often than not, men take advantage of your sacrifice and they double down and expect you to give up everything and lose yourself in that relationship. And it's so much easier to do that when you are away from everything you know. It's not to say that you shouldn't move abroad, that you shouldn't move someplace else, but if you decide to, what you need to do is do that first. Go where you want to be first, and then find and establish yourself, find the relationships, because men do not give that to you. They are not your guide in these places. They will very rarely pour the amount of attention that you need and support that you need to feel comfortable and safe in another city, another state, let alone another country. Because most men just aren't bred to do it. So guys, subscribe to my channel. I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments, and ciao ciao for now.